Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Mob Psycho 100. Last time around we had Divine Tree Part 1, The Founder Appears, where at the end of it basically I just didn't know what was happening. For some reason Reagan seems to have been brainwashed, but I don't know how, and I've been basically on pins and needles for the past week. Well, okay, maybe not, but I've been curious, so do we even need to recap the rest of the episode? I think we just need to get right in and see what is going on. So, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this episode of Mob Psycho 100. Here we go. It's like an intervention, basically. It's your buddy who, he had some he was on some hard times when you met him, but you made friends with him, and now after all this time, he's gone back to what he was doing, and you just gotta go. You gotta knock some sense into him and say, hey, this isn't you. You made so much progress to not be this anymore, Can't do it. You can't do it. He's like an alcoholic, He was sober for 3 good seasons. 2, I guess. However, for a good number of episodes, he was sober. Then he took that drink again. And he's making all these excuses. Well, look how happy I am. It feels so good to have that drink, But now it's time for the rude awakening, where your buddy sits you down, slaps you, puts you in a bath, sprays hot water on you, hoists you up, slaps you again on the other cheek, and tells you, tomorrow you're going to get a job, and I will have no more of this in my house. And if you do this one more time, you're out on the street. And that's just it. That's essentially what it is. That's what it is with Dimple. That was a long, not perfect analogy, but that's what we're going with. Because, it's interesting how once he shows himself and he talks about Tsubomi and then becomes great godly Dimple, the conversation is just completely turned on him, The conversation is just completely turned on him to where he's now on the back foot, Like Mob was waiting that whole time for it, basically, Because with everything that he was talking about, it's like, oh, they're truly happy, and for a second, like with what Hanazawa was saying, oh, you can't stop this by force, and it's like, well, yeah, he can. In fact, that's what he's done all show. But granted, maybe with this, now with the whole thing of, what is the real Dimple? You can't tell me that this is the real you. This is bullshit, And that moment where, it seems like the real Dimple is still there. Because he sees that shirt and he's like, Shigeo, that shirt's fucking lame. And, like, that could be it, The Dimple that actually cares about them, So I guess, you could even say it's like, yeah, Mob's not even doing that. He's not doing this by force. He is, he is just, he turned the conversation on him. And if anything, Dimple did that to himself, Even with all of Mob's power being drained into the Divine Tree, which is then put into Dimple, it's just not enough, even if Mob's powers have a limit, you know? Even if they do have a limit, it's still far greater than Dimple could ever comprehend, you know? Well, okay, so I guess I was about to ask, if Tsubomi passed up on everything, why did she then become a part of the religion? I guess that is because it's the same thing with Reigen, which I'm glad they explained that it's just, yeah, eventually you will just succumb to it because you are surrounded by all those emotions, and the two of them are not psychics, you know? The two of them are not psychics, so Reigen and Tsubomi eventually were just taken in by all the emotions of the crowds, you know? So, it's an interesting idea with Tsubomi that, you know, it's like, oh, well, she's just, you know, she's such a strong woman, a strong young woman that, you know, that's why she walked away from your powers, because she doesn't need that, or like what the fuck are you talking about, you know? Like, I get, like, okay, yes, like, I could see that to an extent. I mean, like, we barely had anything of Tsubomi, you know? Like, I don't know. I guess that it's she's a strong young woman, and she don't need no mob, you know? So it doesn't matter. I mean, okay, the essential thing is, nothing is going to magically impress her and make her fall for mob. That's just that, you know? Not the psychic powers, not if he got ripped, you know? Nothing like that. The chance could still come in. You know, he could still have a chance with her if he is honest, you know, if he's himself, you know? Now, it still might not, you know? He just might not be her type. That's perfectly fine, but I mean, it's essentially like it's weirdly like saying he's trying to take a shortcut, you know? Like, okay, the psychic powers don't work, well, I'll get jacked. That'll do it, right? And it's like, well, no, you would have to, I mean, you have to be, you basically, if you want that, the only way is to, this sounds awful, the way I'm going to phrase it, but you have to work on her, you know? You know, you have to become her friend, become a great friend, and then maybe, and that's still a maybe, you know? And in the meantime, there are other, probably more interesting girls anyway, you know? Like, there's other fish in the sea, and I mean, that sounds like a Reigen lesson, you know? Like, Mob, there's other fish in the sea. You can go find them, you know? I mean, just, okay, maybe not Misato. Tome, she's nice. Tome's pretty nice, telepath obsession aside. But hey, she has a hobby, good for her. Emmy, I think Emmy's probably the best bet, you know? Like, she seems, like, I think she's super nice, but I mean, you got a lot of choices, man. Not Misato. She's a little too obsessive with this thing. But maybe if the Psycho Helmet religion ends, maybe she'll get better, you know? She could be a kind of interesting, you know, Lois Lane, but she's definitely got to get over that part. But anyway, but yeah, there's plenty of fish in the sea, you know? And there's probably a fish that is better than Tsubomi anyway, you know? So it's like, it's like you can. I think, yes, Shigeo still has a chance. Or you could cast your, cast your lure, your fishing rod. I almost said just cast your rod, but let's not talk about rods. But, you know, cast the net somewhere else. I don't know. Meanwhile, Tsubomi's just sitting in a boat. She didn't even cast her net, basically. It's like there's like tens of thousands of fish around Tsubomi, and she's just sitting there looking at them, just being like, what? I'm not going to catch you, you know? That's essentially it. That's essentially, if we're going off of the fish metaphor, then I guess it's that. This metaphor's falling apart. But anyway, Dimple. I mean, it really just is. And again, I like that this show kind of has the balls to do that. That they have the balls to make Dimple a villain again, you know? Even though, you know, it is sort of a thing of, you know, a come to Jesus meeting with Mob, where it's like, look, this isn't the real Dimple, you know? And he said that multiple times, you know, when it's like, why don't you just give that shit up, you know? Why are you still on this? I thought we were done with this whole become a god thing, you know? And it was only at that last part where Dimple was just like, fuck you, I'm gonna go do this myself, you know? And now Mob has to go and give him an intervention, you know, be like, this isn't you, you know? And it's basically, it's like, okay, you got what you finally wanted. And it's not enough, is it? This didn't bring you happiness. You're talking about bringing happiness to all the members of the Psycho Helmet religion. Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you at peace? You know? Is this the real you? Because what you claimed was once you became a god, no one could oppose you, not even Mob. You know who can oppose you, though? Mob. This is what you wanted, isn't it? You have all the power of the Divine Tree, even sucking away Mob's power and using it for yourself, and you still cannot beat him. That would be like if you were playing chess, and after you take one of your opponent's pieces, you use that on your own board, to where all they have left is the king, and he's still whooping your ass. You know? Like, you have 39 pieces. 39 pieces, and he just has the king, and he is still whooping your ass. You know? Is that what you wanted? Are you happy now? Is this the real Dimple? Will the real Dimple please stand up? 'Cause it ain't you, bitch. So I like that. I like that. Again, just the fact that turns so easily too, you know? Like, there's not a big moment where there's basically, like, I feel like in most anime there would be a big moment where, like, you know, the protagonist, they'd say something like, oh, but what about this? And then it'd be like, oh my god, he said that, and thus it turns the tables on the whole thing. But it was literally, it was Dimple's and Mob's ideologies clashing, and which one crumbles first. And he thought that Mob would crumble first, but as soon as he became Great God Dimple, boom, gone. You don't have a leg to stand on. Just nothing. It's basically that. It's not even like Mob, you know, saying something particular in order to, you know, switch this around on him. It's literally just that, no, your argument at its best is deeply flawed and doesn't work. This ain't you. This ain't you. And it's time for an intervention. But maybe we did get a glimpse of the real Dimple when he saw that shirt and realized, Shikeo, that shirt's fucking lame. What an interesting episode. So, I'm glad I got my answers from last episode, because I was deeply confused about what happened to Reagan, you know? But that's it. It's just, you know, it's just Dimple's will just going in, basically being able to even overpower Reagan without any physical contact from anything, you know? And it's not a test, you know, because they're all still basically the same, just, you know, they worship the Divine Tree, you know? And it's all part of Dimple's plan, and now all that is falling apart. So yeah, where we're going next time, I don't know. We got to continue the intervention. Maybe a couple more slaps, I don't know. But yeah, good stuff. Excited to see where we're going next. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Mob Psycho 100 reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.